Hi, this is Justin Madders with my regular report back from Parliament. One of the things I've been dealing a lot with recently have been statutory instruments. What are they, you may ask? They are pieces of regulation which aren't normally as large as bills themselves, but are equally important in terms of keeping the business of the country going. Now, there's something that all governments have used, but over recent years they've become more and more frequent. To the extent that the average number of statutory instruments now passed by Parliament are around 3,000 per year. Most of them are uncontroversial, but occasionally they have been used and more recently abused by the government to try and sneak through very controversial measures which deserve full scrutiny, because statutory instruments are often not debated by MPs at all, and when they are, it's normally in a small committee of less than 20 MPs. One such example of that recently was the statutory instrument which was going to abolish all student maintenance grants, and indeed the government did pass that through as a statutory instrument. Now, we were all very unhappy about that because it wasn't something that was subject to a full parliamentary debate. It wasn't subject to a vote by every MP, and it was all done in an hour and a half. So we got a full debate and vote on the floor of the House eventually, and unfortunately we lost it, and it's a real shame because it was a major part of the changes in student finance, which we feel were some of the more positive aspects of it. So if you remember, when the government trebled tuition fees to £9,000 a year, one of the things that they did to deal with arguments that this would put off people from going to university was that they agreed to introduce a system of maintenance grants for students from less well-off backgrounds. Now, this statutory instrument has got rid of them altogether, and their answer as a government is, well, you can borrow more money through the loan system. For me, that isn't the way ahead. I think the way that's been dealt with is pretty sneaky and underhand, and I think this is a decision in years to come that we will look back on and regret greatly. On a more positive note, locally, I went to visit the Bring Laughter at Little Sutton Farmers Market on Saturday morning, and I was very pleased to see that it seems to be going from strength to strength. Great to see so many local businesses there selling their wares, and really a great response from the community in Little Sutton. We need to do more in Little Sutton to make it a more lively and vibrant place, and I hope that we can make some progress on that in the months to come. Now, all the people there who were selling their wares are all small businesses. They all pay their taxes, and quite rightly they will be asking, as am I, why do companies like Google get away with paying just a fraction of the money that they owe? Well, the answer appears to be because they can, and across a number of industries, mainly those to do with online retail, but others who are multinationals have used a series of complex methods to avoid paying their full liability for tax. Now, other countries have managed to negotiate better deals than we have, but ultimately every company should be paying their fair share of tax. We demand a level playing field. Everyone who pays tax in this country should be treated equally, and I'm sure that this will be a campaign that will continue to run and run. One final thing I just wanted to mention, a very disturbing trend has emerged in terms of unemployment figures in the constituency. Unemployment was going down until about 12-18 months ago, and it then sort of flatlined, and for the last 6 months or so it's been consistently creeping up, not massively, but creeping up well over the 1,000 mark now in the constituency. And to me it represents a trend. It's a trend that is worrying. It's a trend that at a time of economic growth shouldn't be happening, and it's not a trend that we're alone in. A number of other constituencies, particularly in the northwest, have seen unemployment increase in the last 12 months, and I think it's something that we really need to be having concerted action on now from the government, because when the downturn happens, which it will eventually, we will already be 2 or 3 steps behind. Now, there are I think some initiatives the government could be doing to bring more employment into the area, and I think this is an example of how often the economy is imbalanced, and places like Ellesmere Port and Neston don't always get the investment in infrastructure and business support that places, particularly in London and the South East, do. So that's something again that I will continue to campaign on and hope to see you soon. Bye now.